What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? I'm Mr. Rad, and welcome to today's video. We are going to be taking Buzz, the lightning yellow RX8 Buzz Lightyear, to the dyno in this video with our quest to make 200 horsepower out of a cheap RX8. I bought this car for the price of one pair of RX8 seats. So go on the internet, see how much a pair of seats costs. That's about how we quantify the numbers on what we're spending on this thing. So the first iteration was full bolt-ons. We made 130.5 horsepower, naturally aspirated with the already low compression RX8 engine. We then built the hybrid Renesis, which was a whole rabbit hole of disappointment, and we made 105 horsepower with a new engine that was the hybrid Renesis. So I decided that I was putting the old engine back in, which is low compression, right? Which is good for boost, which is where this car sits right now. So under the hood of Buzz is a turbo kit that I made out of a drive shaft, an RX-7 drive shaft. We cut it, nice thick material, my log manifold, a leftover wastegate I had laying around. We've got a VS Racing turbo because our $100 turbo broke, and we have an Amazon intercooler kit with a really crappy intercooler that was laying around here, and then some custom engineering. Honestly, there's more effort into the mass airflow section of this whole setup than there is into the rest of it. The Honda hood exit, because everyone tells me I should just K-swap my RX-8 anyways, so there you go. Honda guys, we have a hood exit for you. And then this car is tuned on VersaTuner, which is a stock ECU. So it's just an OEM wiring harness, a turbo slapped on there, beep, boop, beep. The wastegate makes 4 pounds of boost. We've got a cheesy little Defi gauge in there telling us how much boost we're making, and I've never put it on the dyno. So we're taking this car to the dyno in this video, and the goal is to put down more than 200 horsepower. But there are things that we've got to do before we get to the dyno, and you're never gonna guess what those things are. They're literally the most trivial, unimportant things, but they're gonna prevent me from dynoing this car, which is real unfortunate because it's a good car. So we'll just start at the front. First things first, dyno prep. We just don't need this. This is only on here to make it look like a complete car. You see, I set up my mass airflow, like this whole tube right here, for this air filter because I didn't really care if it fit under the bumper at the time. And then now that it runs good, I wanted to put the bumper on, and putting a different filter on it really made my mass airflow mad, so we're ready to go to the dyno like it is. I'm not gonna change the tune basically, but we're gonna improve that later, but not right now. Because here's the deal, y'all put your guesses in the comments below. I've made a pact with my Patreon members that if this car makes more than 200 horsepower, we will actually improve the turbo kit and build an exhaust and make this a decent street car. Because, well, Turbo RX-8 is actually a really good recipe for a lot of fun, and we're gonna prove that, which we have been proving it, because honestly, I'm surprised this thing still runs. But that's not the biggest issue to get this thing to the dyno. The thing that actually is preventing me from going to the dyno right now, because this is like the night before I need to go and I just realized this, is that my lug nut tool, well, you see Chuckles in one of our other videos blew out my lug nut tool, which means it doesn't grab the lug nuts. And I have these super gangster tricked out wheels that are, I have no idea what brand they are, but they only fit these dumb lug nuts that have like the keyway that are super low profile and super thin. And unfortunately, my tool is broke. And I should have ordered one weeks ago, but I don't have one. So, needless to say, I've got to fix this, which means we're gonna weld this tool up and then grind it down, and hopefully it lasts long enough to get 10 lug nuts out, and hopefully I didn't tighten them very tight because, well, I'm notorious for tightening my lug nuts too tight. So completely trivial, completely useless thing towards making 200 horsepower, but here's the deal. Ernie at Phalanx Performance, which is where we're headed, has a hub dyno, and a hub dyno requires me to take my wheels off, which is why this is important. Also, it's important because the hub dyno gets us a very, very accurate number. Don't have to have any crazy dyno fights over if it reads high or low or this or that. We know we made 100 horsepower with the hybrid. We made 130 with this engine NA, and now we're trying to best that 200 horsepower mark, which should be easy. See, it's got 2 cracks in it, right there and right there, split all the way down. This is a 6-prong one. I'm sure I could get one of these from the parts store, but I can't just like go to the parts store at 11 o'clock at night. I just blew a giant hole in that. The lug nut fits. Cinderella slipper, let's go. That's still a little warm. Okay. Of course, it fits the lug nut that's out there. If I hammer that in here, I don't know that I get it out. I definitely don't think this is gonna work. And we're probably definitely just gonna break this again. Oh. Yep. Well, guys, I don't think I'm coming back from that one. So, looks like trip to the parts store before we go to the dyno in the morning, or I just hope that Ernie has one of those, which is a terrible place to be in. Look at the carnage. It's crazy. Why do they even sell lug nuts like this? Junk. Why can't they just make it all easy? 19 mil, 3/4, something standard. So I talked to Ernie this morning. I went to all 3 parts stores in my little town and I could not find a replacement lug key, but Ernie said he's confident that he has the right one. If not, Harbor Freight says they sell one. So we are currently, welcome to St. Louis, getting close to Phalanx Performance, ready to strap these cars down on the dyno, or at least in this video, just the yellow car, but I'm here to actually dyno 2 cars. Caddy Max is crushing it. The only thing that kind of stinks is the old 2-car open trailer. Well, let's just say it's a little bit bendy, meaning it's a little flexible, and I think just 2 seconds ago I hit a giant pothole and my inner fender might have rubbed my tire a little bit. So I need to investigate that. I've just had some issues with this trailer, with it being when you put 2 pretty heavy cars on it, which not that an RX7 or an RX8 is heavy, but 2 2,800 pound machines is pretty much the maximum. This trailer really loves to haul around first generation RX7s, which are like 2,000 pounds and a lot lighter, so it's not smoking anymore. We should make it there just fine. We got 20 miles. So Ernie's just outside of St. Louis, St. Charles, Missouri. Check out the gateway to the west, old Lewis and Clark, the big old arch. St. Louis is fun. All right, well, we got a flat tire. Everything looks good on the cars. Apologize for the, well, that oil wasn't for me. Check this out. Gotta love that. So this trailer flexes and this little inner fender thing here sometimes will pop out like that. There's a hole in it because I've had to strap it to a car or something. Obviously the FD is covered in dirt now. So there's a tire shop just a couple miles up the road, and I'm gonna leave my rig here for 10 minutes and hopefully it doesn't get stolen or messed with or whatever, and we're gonna drive the FD up to this tire shop, get the tire swapped out, come back here, put it back on, good to go. My socket set that I keep in my truck does not have a 21mm socket. How stupid is that? And that's completely empty too. All right guys, here's what I came up with. I've got this strapped up, at least that it's not on the ground. So that's a win. I've got to go 4 miles, real slow across the interstate, little space. I'm gonna leave the RX-7 here. I'm gonna leave you guys in the RX-7 recording the whole time. So it's a nice-ish gas station. I don't think anybody's gonna mess with just this car if I go park it up right in front of the door. So I'm literally gonna put this right in front of the door, lock everything, and I'll be back to get this with a tire, ideally. Don't get get stolen while I'm gone. Guess I'll take my steering wheel with me too. It was still here when I got back. That's a huge win.
I've been driving miles since '87, but every time I have someone, what year is this?
1993.
I like that. Where you from?
Indiana. Only here because I got a flat tire on my trailer and I had to figure it out. Tire fixed. Should hold up. Fender strapped back. Car strapped down. Good to go. Strap my wheels down. We're off to the races. We're ready to go. Did y'all see anything interesting while we were sitting in the parking lot over there? I'll have to review the footage, and you guys already saw it before I did, so hopefully there was no crazy stuff going on, you know. Casino gas station, East St. Louis. Awesome people so far that stopped up and talked. Maybe I'm just being stereotypical of an area that has, you know, it's just a little bit sketchy than rural southern Indiana. All right, now we go to Phalanx Performance. We're only gonna be an hour late. Actually 2 hours late, because I was already an hour late. We've arrived at Phalanx Performance. We just finished up getting the base map for the Black FD done, and now it's time to play with Buzz. Listen to this, it's an RX8. Starts every time. Oh yeah, let's go. All right, 200 horsepower, here we come. Let's take that Black FD, looks good. Noah's laughing at my flames. Yeah. The FD sounds good. Yeah, I didn't let you know that the brakes aren't exactly the best bled right now, but hey, you know, it stops. Yeah, it does stop.
It does.
All right. Well, we're going to get the big camera set up. This is Ernie, if you haven't met him before, with Phalanx Performance. We got Noah over here getting the car on the dyno. And what do you think? Are we going to make 200 horsepower?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we got this. All right.
Let's guess. Take a guess.
Mine's 203.
203?
That's my goal.
I'm going to say, you said 4 pounds of beef?
Yeah, 4-ish.
Oh, yeah, 201.
Okay. Price is right in me.
I don't know.
Well, we just got to get the lug nuts off. So Ernie has the right tool, but we just don't need to break that tool.
Well, I got a couple of those, actually.
Okay.
I got one in my 8, too.
I went to all 3 parts stores in my town this morning. Fortunately, they're within a half a mile radius of each other, and none of them had it.
I'm shocked, because
I know, it blows my mind. Needless to say, these aren't going back on. I have stock lug nuts and stock RX8 wheels to put in the back. And then I'm going to order one of those so I can take these off the front and then never put these wheels on anything else again. I say that now, but
yeah,
this is the first time you've seen it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, seen videos and all that, but yeah. As a fellow turbo RX8 owner, I can appreciate this.
So I'll put you on the spot. What do you think? Because I copied your turbo kit.
Yeah.
Basically, with a drive shaft and some leftover pipe, and everything's at a 40% quality level compared to yours, but close enough.
Yeah, and it's probably like a third of the, probably less than a third of the cost. So yeah, I think this will work, man.
Yeah. VS Racing, 3582. So it's the same size as the first one, but not eBay. This one, This turbo was actually $370. So it was one pair of RX8 seats. The other one was just right one seat worth of dollars. And then I've been melting my ECU box a little bit, and there's like 1.5 inches between the battery and the pipe. I was looking at yours earlier. Your like hot side almost touches your battery.
Yeah.
So it's like
super close.
This, when it's running and I've been ripping on it, the battery gets a little warm, but it's never like hot. Now this gets hot, but there's a good air gap here. So
yeah, it'll be all right.
You know, and then I got because it's the positive cable, i.e. the POS, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Oh, man.
Water cooled it because need water cooling. I think that probably that and a bad bearing or bad oil feed or something is what killed the other one. The restrictor bead too small. And then the intercooler piping is a 2.5-inch universal kit from Amazon. That was $120.
Wow, you went all out.
I know. And then the intercooler is just something I had laying around. But I think, you know, and you know this as well, like the most important part as I put it together was definitely getting the mass airflow, like that sensor. If you're stock ECU, that's definitely the most critical part of a turbo RX8. Like
making that thing happy.
Yeah, the fancy manifolds and the badass turbos and all the cool stuff matters, but that's more important than all of that, because you can make crappy stuff work if your math is reading right, because that's all this car really cares about as far as what it sees engine-wise, you know? Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Get you a turbo blanket, man.
It'll be all right. It probably needs all of it. Turbo blanket, the downpipe, or up, however I'm going to make an exhaust for this thing, assuming it makes 200 horsepower. Make it streetcar friendly. We'll have to reconfigure it. I think I'm probably going to like cut my turbo manifold up and move the turbo this way a little bit. So like take this and move it here. And then hopefully I can still get we'll have to do some recalibrating of the math, but if that was there by like 2 inches, this would be easier, and then I could probably get the tube down there. Tubes. You know, on your car, it's super tight to get your downpipe out, you know, so.
It's awful. Yours actually looks a lot easier.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mine goes, you know, over there, over that.
But the other thing, do you have 3-inch exhaust?
Yeah.
See, I would just like not care and put 2.5-inch exhaust. It's like, there's no way it's at 200 horsepower, I need a 3-inch exhaust. So.
That'll work. That'll work.
I don't know how big my drive shaft is, but it's probably close to 2.5 inches or so.
Yeah, if it saves you to fuss with the, you know, the downpipe there and having to fight that thing tooth and nail to get it out every time, you know, serviceability, you know, you talk about that all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, that and like what I've seen guys with their big like the big EFR turbos. They have an outlet flange. It's like, I think it's 3-inch or 3.5, and then they'll step it up right away to like 4-inch or 4.5 and run the downpipe at that big pipe, right? And then when they get down under the car, they'll neck it back down. Yeah, kind of like a 2-stroke expansion chamber to some extent. So I wonder if like if I keep my 3.5 or 3-inch for like 4 inches and then neck it down to 2.5, that'll just make me feel better about having a 2.5-inch exhaust ultimately. What I'm getting at. I don't think it'll make a difference horsepower-wise, though. I
don't think so either. You know, we start getting up maybe like over 300 possibly, but you know, for this guy, probably not.
No. So it's normally not really like, okay, I say it's normally not the lug nut that gets hard, but.
Yeah.
So like, I'm barely tapping on that, guys, just so you know. Not forcing it at all. Oh yeah, nice. It's more so like there's corrosion on the wheel that makes it not want to go in there versus the lug nut, just because of how small the hole is on the wheel. We made 105 with the hybrid. We made 130.5 with the NA engine, and then we got to make 200 with this. This has been test bed buzzed RX8, just like the test bed zone right here. Phalanx Performance. Got to give Ernie a huge shout out always, because we have taken up a lot of his time. So go check out Phalanx Performance website. It sells all sorts of parts, all sorts of cool stuff, tuning, engine builds, the whole deal. You always ask me if I do engine builds. I just refer people to Ernie, so go check out Ernie, Phalanx Performance. Gotcha. Yep. Oh yeah, right in there. Last little bit, about a 1/2 inch. All right, good to go. Every time. Didn't say it would stay running every time. Oh, man. I had the battery disconnected. It hasn't figured out it's idle yet.
All right, RX8.
It's low compression.
RX8 excuses. Whenever you're ready, whenever it's warmed up and ready to go. Got some 10 minute?
Yeah, it's at 150. It's fine. We made it bad. It only made 108.
That ain't
Like making another pull. I don't know what's going on with that though.
Yeah.
It definitely rips like it's making more than 105 horsepower. There ain't no way it's making 105 horsepower because it would smoke the pants off my green RX8.
Okay, yeah.
Like on the street.
Well,
you can hear it pick up at like 7,500 RPM and just, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just do it again.
Okay.
I'll make sure I'm logging. It's almost like Buzz just does not want to make horsepower. The last few times we've came here, we've made such little horsepower that we've literally recalibrated the dyno multiple times with Buzz, knowing full well that Ernie has dynoed hundreds of RX8s and hundreds of RX7s, but somehow we always just find something that's outside of our mind of why it's not making power. And it's not. We're not very stoked. It's running pretty slow at this point. So we gotta find something. I was cleaning up the fuel, and we didn't find that much power.
Yeah.
Well, we made 113?
That's it. your butt dyno
Dude, this
is off.
A turd right here. It has to make more than the green car. We're gonna have to bring the green car down and see how slow the green car is in.
Do you really want to do that?
I do. Because if I've
do you want to see those numbers?
If I've been thinking it's making 140, and this definitely would smoke the green one. I mean, it's got 3 pounds of boost in it over 0.
I don't know, man. You need more boost.
With Buzz, you don't have to tell me twice. Let's put more boost to it. We grabbed a manual boost controller, slapped it on the car, and we're gonna see if this thing blows up or makes 200 horsepower.
Too much?
It definitely made like 6.5 pounds or 7 or 8 or whatever. I let off when it went past.
I'll turn it in.
Yeah. It was climbing well past 7, so I lifted.
Now that's turned all the way in. You should get a little bit of a boost increase, but it should be pretty close to
what it was.
Yeah, let's just test that, and then we'll bring it up if we need to.
All right. So we just verified that the boost controller is in fact all the way down to 4 psi. So now we're going to turn the boost controller up from here. We should start to see some massive power gains, or just see lots of smoky blow-by coming out of the breather on top of this low compression, hurt, already busted, burling up, kind of crummy engine. So let's see what happens. Car would destroy this thing. You could probably beat this in a foot race.
Superior chassis though, superior. We need a 375 horsepower in this one.
I was hoping this thing would just make 200 horsepower, we'd be done.
Right? It's gonna fight you. It's gonna fight you all the way.
As the sun was going down, we had been fighting this tune for just a little bit of time. We had been pulling fuel. There's a little dip on the graph, which I can show a picture of, and it was just not making the horsepower we wanted it to make. You can see all the blow-by. You can see that it's been fighting us. We were getting a little bit frustrated, but in the end, we already had our manual boost controller on it, and we're just going to send this thing to the moon. That's kind of where we were at this point. We're ready to push it on the trailer broken, or make 200 horsepower. But do you think that the dip would be my peak if it was like not a dip?
Does
that make sense?
It would not be your peak.
The peak would still be up high, right?
It'd still be up high. Your peak right now is your peak, so...
All right, well, here's what I think.
What do you think?
I think we put more boost in it, and I'm going to ship it.
Hell yeah.
That's what I think we do.
That's a good plan right there. I like that idea.
It's only like 5 psi.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? It's already too rich. We're good.
Yeah, you got the fuel.
Yeah, we'll put it on the trailer. If it's broke, it's fine. We're putting a catch can on there?
Yeah.
Sweet. Am I making a mess up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. It's still making oil pressure, so we're not going to check it.
I just don't want anything to catch on fire.
Do you have a fire extinguisher handy?
Yeah, I do.
Sweet. All right. Hey, that was 150 right there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that was probably 7 pounds.
Oh, that wasn't nothing.
Let's go look.
We gotta turn that up, man.
Oh boy.
No,
Like I'm driving through the dip of power, and then it's picking up its power,
Yeah.
and I'm just staying in it, and that's
Yeah.
where we're picking up the peak number.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just gonna do that again.
I'm gonna
From
put
where we
1.5.
were before. All right, do it. We picked up 20 horsepower.
Oh yeah.
170. I mean, it's at 8 pounds. Do we put more in it? Do you think it makes 200 if we keep turning it up, or what?
Oh, what
We
is
still
it?
got all 6/8 apex seals right now. It's idling pretty smooth.
Yeah, man. If you're good with it, I can throw two cranks on it.
I mean, what's it gonna do? What do you think it's
Let's
gonna
do it.
I think it'll be fine. You think
All
it'll be
right.
fine? You're the tuner, expert guy. Don't want it to catastrophically fail, but I'm not gonna be that mad if it catastrophically fails. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Oh yeah, baby! We got 195!
Oh, we're so close.
It died because I shut it, or let off the gas. Okay, it needs a little bit more boost and we'll make 200.
There's the super tuner.
I'm not changing anything, I'm just watching logs.
Just take it.
That's all we're doing.
Just say yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So here's the dyno graph from that last run. Made 195 horsepower, 136 foot-pounds of torque, and you can see a big power dip up top. Hire me to tune your RX8. Not.
Don't
Don't do that at all.
You're gonna have everybody and their mother coming to you.
Oh, sweet. 195.6, baby. All we need is 200. 200, and we'll put a lot more time and effort into this thing, and then it'll easily make 200.
We're still in the single digits on this, so what'd you get, 10?
It didn't crest 10, but it was at 10.
Okay, so this is pretty close, actually.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you want to do? Did you want to do maybe like a one turn?
Oh, I may have not logged that one. It's probably good I didn't log that one, honestly. No, I don't think I logged that one. So yeah, let's do a turn.
Okay.
I think it turns, the last turn, so what, we made 170, right?
Yes.
And then we went 2 turns and we made 195.
Yeah.
So at that point, 2 turns was worth 25 horsepower. If we go 1 turn, we should easily pick up the
That's what I'm
4.4
thinking.
horsepower.
That's what I'm thinking.
We need to make 200. All right,
Good. We're on the same page.
turn it 1 turn. Let's see it.
Let's turn it up.
See, this is the fun on the dyno. When you
Time
have
to
no
get turned
mechanical-
up.
You got no mechanical sympathy. You're just like, screw it, let's go. Turn it up. I didn't say it. I gotta say, it's an RX8. It starts every time.
Come on, girl. Come on.
The trick is you just never let off the starter until it starts. It'll
Right.
eventually start, right? Hey, does that sound like 6 apex seals?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like 6 apex seals. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, it loves it. There you go, man.
All right, we're done. 213.8.
Oh, you got 100 horsepower.
Let's go. We doubled our horsepower on the dyno.
Yep.
More than, because we made, what, 103 or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Shoot, yeah. I'm not even going to look at the log. I don't care. I made 213. Good enough.
Never seen People so excited about 200 horsepower.
Hey, we
The
came here to
RX8
make
guys.
200 horsepower.
Matter of fact, you exceeded your expectations.
I
on
know,
that.
we did. We crushed it.
Yeah.
Because
good
at the
job.
very beginning, all we wanted was 200.
That's right.
That's all we wanted.
Yeah. Did good.
How much is in our catch can?
You got a little bit in there.
Oh, it's probably a shot glass worth. We made what'd you say it was? 214? 213.8?
We'll call it 214s. 213.8. We round up, so.
Big horsepower goofing over here with Buzz the RX8. Honestly, I thought that was going to be way easier than it inevitably turned out to be.
Me too.
But a little bit of manual boost controller action. I think we ended up at like almost 10 pounds of boost.
It's a team effort, you know,
So-
at the end of the day.
Yeah, 10 pounds, Amazon turbo kit, drive shaft turbo manifold, and a turbo with a Honda hood exit exhaust. 200 horsepower RX8s. The new recipe for blowing up RX8s, most likely. But it lived. So this thing is low compression, which means since we made 200 horsepower, we can upgrade Buzz the RX8 now. It has earned its ability to have some monetary investment and time put into it now. So in the next videos with this car, we're going to be making this thing actually streetable, like Ernie's RX8, which we're going to do a video with his car in the next couple weeks as well for the March Radness month when we're back here. But I'm just stoked it lasted as long as it did.
Yeah,
I'm honestly surprised. And I'm pumped that it's inspired me to really want to kind of pursue building a street car turbo renaissance. Because I was, just as everybody was, hesitant to turbo one, figured they would blow up, the short apex seal, all the stuff.
Right,
And,
right.
you know, your car's always ran really well, but you've broken it a few
Oh,
times.
yeah.
And I know you are like me. The shop owner is typically very hard on their car
Yes.
compared to what other people do. So I'm just pumped to, like, if this can do 200, then we can easily make like 230 or so in a nice quiet street car and be a comfortable, reliable turnkey, just like a normal RX-8 is.
Right.
You know, good car.
But just
So-
with more power and torque,
Yeah.
like it should have came with from the
Exactly.
factory. So yeah,
So,
job.
what's the most surprising thing to you about it, or what are you the happiest to have seen with this build?
what am I happiest to have seen?
Like, I guess I've learned, or like as a car enthusiast to be inspired, or does this? I don't know.
Well, it's like you don't have like thousands upon thousands of dollars in this. You
Nope.
just put it all together with some Amazon goods, and
Yeah.
you doubled your horsepower. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what everybody strives to do, you know, especially if you don't have a big budget like most people, and
Yeah.
you did good.
Yeah, and I think too, like for me, the most inspiring part about it is like, if this was me 10 years ago, right? And instead of buying my RX-7, I bought an RX-8.
Yeah.
And then it'd be me on my 10 years ago budget trying to play with an RX-8 that I bought for $3,000. Like, this is probably something I would have ended up with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, instead of doing a Bridgeport RX-7 NA, right? Like, I'd have probably been like, oh, well, my Renaissance still runs. Let me just put a turbo on it and have fun and, you know, whatever. So I think that's kind of, for me, that's the most inspiring like thing to have learned from this process. Is like, I know I've talked to guys out, especially the New Mexico guys. They have lots of RX-8s and want to turbo the RX-8s and are like waiting for the results of this.
Really?
And you know, those
Okay.
guys are like, if it works, then they're willing to kind of invest the time and money in to make their car like that, right? Because whether it's a drift car or track car or street car, like this is a good upgrade to, you know, kind of keep up with everyone else on the road, right? Because
Yeah.
RX-8s inherently are pretty slow in a straight line, but still fun to drive.
Definitely.
So-
This one will be even funner.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ernie, thank you so much for
No
it
problem.
is now evening time with my flat tire hiatus of getting here, and hopefully we get home and everything is good, and we're going to end this video at the ranch whenever I get home. So
Yeah, my
really
pleasure.
want to thank you for your time and letting me, you know, oil up your floor again a little bit. And
Yeah.
Buzz the RX-8's made 3 trips here, and each time we've learned some stuff, and that's the whole point, is figuring it out, the old test mule.
Yeah.
So
It's been fun.
yeah, thank you, sir. We'll see you guys back at the ranch. Let's get this loaded up. We're going to do a obligatory rip up the street, and then we'll be ready to go. my trailer tire was flat when I got home, but it wasn't blown out, so that's not too bad. Get the FD off. We'll get the FD off the trailer and then get the RX8 off the trailer. We'll be about done with this video. This thing sounds so good compared to the RX8. Little baby half Bridgeport REW. Get ready to see this in a future video. Turbo noises. So sick. It's an RX8, starts every time. Of course it does. Never once did I doubt Buzz the RX8 from the beginning. Just kidding. This car, the reason that this car was so hacked together was honestly because I did not have at all the confidence or the knowledge that this was actually going to work, which is why it's the cheapest turbo RX8 ever. It's because it's just proof of concept. We just had to make sure that this was worth our time with parts that were completely expendable, like a already rebuilt low compression engine, meaning this engine is unrebuildable, in my opinion. We can't go back through and fix it. If it's already been rebuilt once and ran, it's low compression, it's wore out. Guys, she's been bored 60 over, cylinder walls are too thin, toss it in the dumpster. No resurfacing will probably fix it. I mean, it might. We'll take it apart and see. But that's why I was willing to write it off, willing to blow it up. So this project has not come to an end though. Okay, it is not. This is the proof of concept phase. I'm going to be taking Buzz the RX8 to semi-production level quality parts and revamping some of this stuff. So let's run through the things I want to change for the next video and improve with the car, and you guys should comment below. How would you do this differently? And in what ways, like literally with a high school level of effort, you could 100% build a nicer car than this. So leave that in the comments below. All right, so let's take a look at some improvements we can make on this deal real quick here at the end of the video while you guys are typing all your comments in. So we added a mechanical boost controller. I have a 4-pound wastegate spring in this setup right now. The wastegate is actually way down there on the back of the engine. It's got a log manifold. The turbo's on one side of the log, the wastegate's on the other. So like, it's got plenty of priority. But it's going to need a heavier spring, or we're going to need a better boost controller. I kind of like still keeping the manual boost controller alive, so we might still do something with this. Obviously, I got to give Ernie his back, so thank you, Ernie, for loaning me your boost controller for approximately, I don't know, 7 days, 6 days, because we're going back to the dyno with the FD next week after I break it in, which you guys are going to start seeing March Radness on the channel, which is what I'm going to call it. Ideally, I'm going to crank out as many videos as possible in the month of March. March Madness, March Radness. So we got to give Ernie his mechanical boost controller back. As I mentioned earlier, I don't particularly like the exact location of this turbo. It kind of complicates a few things, and I really want to get a downpipe on here. So we're going to take this back apart, pull the turbo off, pull the turbo manifold off, modify it a little bit to move the turbo a little bit further this way. Like if I could take this and kind of do that number, just like swing it over a little bit. So I have to redo this pipe, redo this pipe. It's going to mess up all of our MAF stuff. When we do the new MAF intake tube, which this is by far the most important part of the whole build, when we redo this, I'm going to lengthen this, put a smaller filter that lives over here. It doesn't need that much airflow, you know, this giant filter, and I want to be able to put my bumper back on, which would be huge. But I also need to get a downpipe, you know, down there and around the intake manifold and all that stuff. So we're going to repackage this a little bit. We're chopping up the drive shaft manifold. No big deal. We are going to have to, you know, obviously the tune we've got in it now, that's going to change. I have the utmost confidence that I can adjust the tune as we go forward. So we're still going to be running plastic MAF tube, still be running 3.5-inch tubing up here for all of that. That'll be the same, a little bit reconfigured. The Honda hood exit will go away. The battery will be safe from flames. The other big thing that I want to update on this, which I can't show it to you, is the lower intake manifold. So I want to go in there and pull all of the valves out. So we'll probably end up like maybe sliding the engine back out of this thing, or at least we'll get in there and disable the valves we can disable. So pull the SSV, pull the APV, block off that stuff, or wire them open. Those valves in the intake moving are affecting all the boosts. You know, you've heard Kyle Mohan and I talked with some other guys down in New Zealand about this stuff, and like, I think we should just block all that off. I would love to obviously build a new engine for this too, which might happen in the future with the green car engine, which will be part of March Madness, which is a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I'd like to do something about the valves. I think that's part of that big power dip, is one of those valves is opening, causing a big rich dump of fuel, and then it's just, I can't tune it out. I mean, I pulled a ton of fuel on the base map through that area to try to fix that rich spot, and ultimately what we did is just left it fat, and I just drove through it, and at 8,300 RPM, it made the peak power of 213.8 horsepower out of Buzz the RX8. So obviously, it's completely raining outside and very early in the morning, so I'm not going to go be driving this right now. I'm very tired, and I just got done driving, so we're not going to do that. But it's here. I need to take the front wheels off. I need to order a lug key. We're going to change that too. The other thing we might change is I may try to improve some of my intercooler piping. I had blown this coupler off whenever I did a burnout, so we'll move that. And I'd like to maybe weld in the blow-off valve somewhere up here so we can recirculate the blow-off valve. Talking with Brett Speed, Greg out in California, they all have recirculated blow-off valves. I think with a stock ECU, that's key. This car, I'm happy, honestly, with the stock ECU results. So we're going to keep running the MAF. We've learned the important part of MAF tuning, which is getting the MAF in a proper location. So, other than those few things, we'll switch the hood out for the one without the hole, hang the hood exit on the wall after I cut the V-band off of it, get the bumper put back on, and then just keep ripping on Buzz the RX8. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video. This is what I've been waiting for a long time. We were waiting for good weather. We finally got good weather, so I could go out and rip this thing and not have to have Ernie fire up his dyno whenever it's like 20 degrees outside. So this car is literally stock fuel system. It's like it has LS coils and a stock ECU. It's simple and it works. Now I haven't taken it to the track. I don't really have a good way to show the intake air temperatures. I wasn't really paying attention, so the intercooler is probably too small. There's things we can improve down the road, but the goal of this car right now was proof of concept. Now the new goal is make this a streetable, quiet, with a healthy engine, probably 250 horsepower RX8. So also the engine part, let's talk about that for 2 seconds. So we know that this engine needs rebuilt, right? We also know that this engine, after this video, at 9 pounds of boost, made 213 horsepower. Ernie and I are like, oh my gosh, at the beginning of the video, why is this thing going to make 100 horsepower again? We are just failing, right? Or is the dyno wrong? Or is the whatever? But then we'd already had this car on the dyno, and it made literally the FD REW, okay, brand new engine, super healthy, rebuilt, half bridge, bigger turbo than this, all the fixins. This car made 206 horsepower at 4 pounds of boost at 6,000 RPM, like 6,000 RPM rev limiter for break-in. So like, how is this not doing it with more boost, right? That was where we were just like, we were up in our heads. So if you think about this, a healthy Renesas engine makes, let's say, 110, 115 PSI compression. That's a brand new one, like new every single part. New housings, new irons, new apex seals, new everything. And this engine makes 70 PSI of compression, okay? So we'll just say a rough guess, 70 out of 110 is approximately 65%. So this engine is performing at 65% of its peak output, which we proved when we dynoed this car with all the bolt-ons and this stock Renesas, and we made 130 horsepower naturally aspirated in a previous video. So go check that out. Way back last year, before we put the hybrid in this, we like all out bolt-ons this car and put it on Ernie's dyno. Same dyno. Okay, so we knew it made 130. We're like, why are we making less? Compression's probably still the same. It starts about the same. That compression variation, I think, is worth a 35% horsepower increase, right? So now let's think about it this way. Other Renesis engines that we've dynoed, Ernie's RX8, Greg's RX8 out in California, Brett Harper's RX8, the Brett Speed turbo manifold guy down in New Zealand, I talked to him. This size turbo, this engine, whatever, at 7 pounds of boost, like Ernie's running, should make 260 or 270 horsepower. Like it should party at that bit of boost. We were expecting 4 PSI of boost to be well over 200. But our engine's not good. It's 65% of a good engine. So let's do some quick math in our head. If 9 pounds of boost on a Renesis makes 280 horsepower, we'll say 275, and we made 213, boop, 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 do the proportional calculations, that's approximately 65% of 280, plus or minus. So we're pretty close to being on par for what we should have made with a low compression beater engine. So at the end of the video, I just wanted to talk through that because everyone's going to be like, RX8's, you're in a RX8 in my stock car that was 30,000 miles, made 220 wheel horsepower without a turbo. Your Buzz RX8 build is so crappy because it only makes 213 horsepower. Well, here's the deal, guys. It's a crappy car with a crappy engine, and I'm very happy with 213 horsepower to prove that the Renesis isn't going to fragile, blow itself up instantly. With me, who's not a certified tuner, okay? I'm not a Versatuner expert. Do not comment below or come to the Patreon and ask me to tune your car. I am not the guy for that. Somebody else helped me do this, and we did it pretty dang good for what it is, and we're going to improve it over time, but I am not the expert. There are other RX8 tuning experts. Go find those guys. Or if you are that guy, comment below, and then we'll share that with the rest of the world. So with that, that's going to be the end of today's video. I'm super pumped. This was a great just learning experience, doing a turbo on a low compression, pretty much 100% expendable RX8. And I think, like Ernie and I talked about, if I was an 18-year-old kid, I wouldn't buy this as my primary car, right? Like daily driver, you need something reliable, probably wouldn't do it. But if I was an 18-year-old guy, 20s, wanted a fun car to play with on the weekends and tinker, that would be cool. This would be perfect. Use what you got laying around. Rebuild it if you need to. You get a good chassis for a couple $1,000 or whatever that's got nice paint. Don't even paint one of these ever. Just buy one with nice paint. You can buy one for cheaper than you can paint one. Grab a used Renesis engine or stack up some junk like I did for this REW. Throw a turbo on it. Go have fun. See if it blows up. Just go have fun. The most important part about it is that it's a running car. Don't care if it's got pistons or rotors. You're having fun and smiling, and you're doing it for not a ton of money. And we proved that. Having fun, we're smiling on the dyno, 213 horsepower. Buzz is a shredder. I'll quit rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I could not do this without the help of the Patreon, so go check out the Patreon. It's free. You can just log in on Patreon and be a member and see all the group chat discussion stuff we have over there. It's super rad. Or if you have questions and you want those questions answered in Patreon videos, become a member of Rad Solutions, and then I'll answer any questions you got in a video specifically addressing your questions. That's how we do it over there. It's super rad. It helped tons of people get cars running, talking through different porting stuff, all sorts of cool stuff over there. If anything, just go check out the general rotary discussion on Patreon. There's some really awesome stuff happening there. So huge shout out to the patrons for just their support. It is literally amazing. And get ready for March Radness coming up very quickly. I thought in my head I could do daily videos. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm just going to do as much as I can, and we're going to see what we can do. So stay tuned to the shorts. Love the feedback on those. Stay tuned to everything. Subscribe to the channel if you want. With that, the most important thing though, live a life you don't need a vacation from. That's why we wear Hawaiian shirts. We're on vacation every day, getting to play with cars in the shop. It's the most fun. So with that, keep it rad. We'll see y'all in the next one. All right, end of the video, pick up the camera. You're going to be on the Shake Cam 9000 because end of the video, pick up the camera. Apologize for the Shake Cam 9000 because I'm literally holding an entire tripod right now. So what to expect in the next March Radness, go check out Patreon to figure out all the rest of it. Sorry, it's late and my words are mumbo jumbo, but get excited for this. I'm excited for this. The dog's not here. Check out my dirt wheeler. This is the old... Before I was in the cars, I was real into fixing and selling and fixing up dirt bikes. This is the old KX250 smoker. You know, if you ain't mixing gas, you're not hauling, you know what I mean? And she's a bad unit. Also, Command Center Part 2. Internet coming soon. PC stuff from the house where I edit on coming soon. That's all that. And the Chevelle is almost ready to start. Like almost. We'd have probably been able to start it last week, but we had the hog roast. So big family get together. And then also in 2 days, I'm installing the REW, the crappy built one, in something. So get fired up for that too. But with that, peace. Double ending, always. Let's catch you in the next one. Later.